Coventry has always been a place of peace and reconciliation where we welcome newcomers, and we're working with all the government programmes. In fact, when these programmes started, it wasn't a case of the government approaching us, it was something that we wanted to do. And when I mean we, I mean the partnership, including Coventry City Council.
My favourite part is when I get to meet people from all corners of the world, and you get to learn about their cultures, their behaviours, their interests, and their types of food. I love food, and so I get to speak about, I get to interact with them on a daily basis, and that's really refreshing. You learn quite a lot from them. You think that you're showing them something, they actually teach you a lot.
I have started working with CRMC since March 2019, so it's about 2 years and a half so far. So I have started doing volunteering at CRMC, then stepped into part-time job as a community participation officer, and then now I am a full-time job with integration team leader job.
Generally through our advice team, we can spot those people who've obviously got some mental health issues, maybe from the way they behave, what they're telling us, how they're coping with the problem that they're facing, and if we feel that they need extra support, we will refer them to the complex needs team, and then they have a caseworker who works with them. And if it was felt that from what they're saying, the way they're behaving, that we think at least that therapy might be helpful, we would tell them about it and sort of tell them about the service and say, look, what do you think about this? Would you consider having it? But also they will also get referred through their GP, their doctor. So if they're meeting their doctor, they perhaps speak to them about their problem, and then the doctor that works very closely with us, called the Meridian practice, that they would also then refer into the therapy service.
A refugee would be somebody that's received status in the country, etc. Migrants come from a raft of reasons. So normally, in all cases, refugees have faced some kind of persecution, or they're coming from war zone countries, etc. That is the difference. And when we're talking about refugees, we're also taking into account asylum seekers, so people that make a claim because they're at risk with their life in their originating country, and then they go through the process, and if they're granted status, that's when they become a refugee.
Workplace culture shock and the work environment, they struggle to, say for example, you come from your country and you are a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, and you come into this country and you're told, well, we don't recognize your qualifications, we can't allow you to practice. That becomes a bit frustrating for them, because then it takes them down to, then what can I do? I've only been a doctor all my life. Probably I've worked 20, 30 years where I was, and then I'm here and I cannot practice that. Where do I start?
Actually, it's a good feeling to be very well known for all refugees, because they know you are a good supporter for refugees. You help them to build their lives safely here in Coventry, which give me a very good feeling, a very good feeling about myself and about CRMC, because you should be a good representative for CRMC. By the end of the day, you should be a good worker as well. So I have a good feeling about that.
And what I really like about the Refugee Centre is that we offer English classes to anybody, whoever you are. You could be a failed asylum seeker, you can be an EU migrant, you could be a visa overstayer, you could be anybody. If you want ESOL classes, then you can get them here.
Dependent on what the needs are, we've got a raft of services. So what we would do is try and find out what their issues are, and then compile a programme around their needs. So it's very much tailor-made. Well, we all know through the media, etc., there's still war, there's still persecution that's kind of going on.
What experience they've had from their home countries. If they haven't had it, we try to then advise them on what routes to take and decide what. Some people have never worked, they don't know what jobs are available here. So that's why it's important to talk to them about the labour market and what jobs will be available for. But then everybody comes and you will start somewhere. Some people tell you, I want just any job, and you say you can't do any job. There is no job called any job. But everyone's needs are tailored. We don't treat people as a group. We don't tell them, okay, come here, you need to go and work here. It's a nice feeling to see people grow from some very, obviously they come as refugees, they have all this crisis going on, and then seeing them rebuild themselves to that extent that they're now working, providing for themselves, feeling useful, which they like. They always say, I want to work and give back to this country that's given me this refuge, and I want to show something that I can do something for them. And that's really rewarding.
And we as a nation need to take responsibility, and you know, people's human rights are at risk. So centres like this are very, very important because it's the first point of contact, and you want people to be felt welcomed, and then from there you want to try and address what their issues are in order they can fully integrate into society.